Hi there, welcome. It's Lucy from Inclusive Change. I'm here from Inclusive Change at Work, actually, our community interest company, and we are talking about the Castle Conference, where we are going to be talking all about digital wellbeing for young people. It's happening in April in Bristol, the 25th of April. We're at Lee Court near Bristol. If you're interested in tickets, they are just £9 and they are still available if you are listening to this before the 25th of April. However, over the past couple of weeks, I've been talking to our key speakers and people who are going to be involved in the event. Now, today, I've got with me Adam Bolas. Adam, hi, how you doing?
Hey, yeah, not bad. You?
Great, absolutely great today. Really, really great to have you here. And we're going to have a chat about your organization, your business, and what you do, and why you're part of the conference. So let's get into it. And I'll start with my first question to say, can you tell me a bit about you and your organization?
Yeah, so I'm Adam, identified. I started Incinto back in November 2022 now. Back then it was called Digital Woof because we were pursuing mainly the education side of things, but now we've moved more into we haven't forgotten that piece. That piece is very important. That's still actively going, but we're pursuing more the prevention piece at the moment, technologically, to drive organizations and individuals towards having a safer digital environment in general.
So let me just ask a question about what you just said. Digital woof. You talking like the dog woof?
Yeah. So I've got a dog at home called Sid, who's an absolute little nutcase. So the other day I
This
was
is making sense now.
yeah. So he was sitting with me in the garden. I thought, oh, I'll take him out in the garden because it's nice and calm and it's sunny for once. No, he sees a cat, he runs, takes the chair leg out from under me. I'm still sitting there, coffee all over me, and he's just trying to kill a cat. So he's brilliant. I love him so much, which is why I named the product after him. Well, the service after him.
So Digital Woof and Sid are named after your dog.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Yeah, because I
I
love
love
dogs.
anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I love anything that's got a story that leads either back to the dog or a cat.
Mm. Yeah.
What more
No,
can
he's
you
he's
ask?
a nutcase, but he's great. Yeah.
I'm really intrigued now. What kind of dog was it?
Jack Russell. Yeah. So
Right.
we use a lot of we generate a lot of our artwork of the dog with GPT and DALI,
Yeah.
and we've managed to get it to push out a lot of the images that actually look like the dog. Some of them don't, but a lot of them do.
Oh,
So the one on his profile picture on the website when you go there, that looks
yeah.
basically exactly like him. Yeah.
So now I'm even right now I'm even more invested. So now you're telling me that the artwork isn't just artwork that's been created by AI. It's
Mm.
actually based on your own on Sid, your dog. Loving
Mm.
it even more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It's just he's a great poser. Don't get me wrong. If you hold the camera near him, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll just pause here and I'll just wait," because he knows. But like my
Okay.
mum's Jack Russell group in Facebook is going nuts.
Right.
Uh, but
Right.
can't
I'm
just
gonna
say,
bring you back now.
huh?
I'm going to bring you back now because otherwise we
Yeah,
will go down a rabbit hole of dogs and
yeah,
cats on the internet. So we're
mm,
not going down that hole. Okay.
yeah.
I want to come back to your company then. So we've got it typed on the screen. Incinto.ai. What
Yes,
does that do? Okay. Tell me what it
yeah,
does in
yes.
layman's terms.
Yes. So in Cinto, should I start with the problem?
You can start with the problem. If
Yeah,
that's the
yeah, sure.
easiest place to start with, go for it.
Yeah. So every parent who set up parents controls or every organization that has some sort of blocking facility knows that new websites and platforms crop up all the time. Those lists
Mhm.
can go out of date very, very quickly. And in the moment of time, the child or someone who's vulnerable can access some content where someone's on that's going to cause problems, or the content itself is harmful to the individual. Very different circumstances. So what we've done is we've built a tool that implements itself into the network, but can also scan content at scale. And essentially, the AI scans the web page and goes, yes or no, it's safe or not. And it looks for 21 different reasonings, whether it's terror content, discrimination, violence, sex abuse, drugs. It looks at all those different potential problems that it's identifying and then classifies it accordingly. In the moment, it will then block the platform from being accessed to that person. Say it's a kid in a library in secondary school, and then
Mhm.
the kid can't access it. So you get rid of the whole problem of having a disparate list that's out of date, and at the same time you can identify and classify the different types of content that your kids are seeing like in real time, which is very, very important.
So it's really it's quite an AI generated or a piece of tech that goes behind this.
Yeah, it's like having a instead of having a door with a lock on it that someone's gonna pick the lock and open the door, it's like having a security guard on the other end of the door. So when there's websites trying to come in through the door, they can't get
Mhm.
past the security guard. The security guard can always go, "Ah, that's not good. You're not allowed in." Kinda like a
Oh,
bouncer.
brilliant.
Yeah.
So what kinds of people or what kinds of organizations would find this beneficial and use it?
Yeah, so we've been having some really interesting conversations with the likes of PwC and a lot of secondary schools and the justice sector and the police, and obviously your lovely selves. And we
Mhm,
found that organizations to safeguarding, whether it's well-being for staff in a workplace or
mhm.
understanding if someone's abusing another colleague at work, to children's safety in school and at homes as well, we found that they've all valued it quite well. So now we're going into a case where we finished the development yesterday, and now we're going to be running our live trials to see how this thing fares. We've done a lot of internal testing and it's produced some brilliant results. We've got a overall 90% accuracy rate on scanning content and pushing out the results, and it's also going quite quick. We've had challenges in AI where it can be a bit slow at points, but then
Yep.
we've had to either kind of hack it a little bit to speed it up, or the more it's used, suddenly the more it goes faster. I think it's just more of a case like a car revving its engine,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
which has been interesting. But we've been learning a lot out of how this technology has been working. But we're just happy that it finally is at a point now where I comfortably could put my name on it and go to a school and go, we can implement this and do it, and it will actually protect the kids. That's
That's amazing.
pretty impressive. And I put my own name on that, absolutely, because it's good.
Oh, that's fantastic. And just picking up on Sid.
Mm.
So tell me a bit about Sid. How does that fit into this? And what does Sid do?
Yeah, so that prevention piece and education piece, the way I see it is like it's all well and good having top-notch security on your home network, but you know kids talk to other kids, the parents may not have it. If that kid sees something that's bad online, they start to share it because they either believe in it or they find it's really exciting to share. That kid then gets exposed to it, they come home and they may be finding other ways to look at it. I think it's good for the parents and the children themselves to be able to have a conversation with an AI like Sid, where they can turn around and
Mhm.
go, right, my friend shared something with me, and it includes, I don't know, a kid being beaten up, and they've
Right.
made it into a racial thing on TikTok, right? That's a problem because it happened about 2 months ago down here in Cornwall
Mhm.
to some people in the local community, not naming names, where there was a child that was attacked in the school, and then some kids videoed it, put it on TikTok, and said it was all about race, and it wasn't about race.
Right.
That's then caused problems for that kid for the rest of his life, and also the other kid as well that was the victim. So the way I see it is good for families, good for charities, good for anyone to have the ability to ask a question of something that is completely unbiased to go, this is how you can handle it, and this is where you can get support, whether it's the NSPCC, if it's Childline, anything like that, to go and get help and support in the moment. It's instant, it's quick. You don't have to sign up. There's no subscriptions. You just use it.
Oh, that's really cool. And
Yeah.
so with Sid, so how do you find Sid? Where
Uh,
is Sid?
digitalwoof.com. It's like woof
Yeah.
is in a dog woof, and then that's it. It's on the homepage. It's right there. You can just start using it straight away.
And so you can type something in, or anybody could type something in, and it might give you a signpost to where you can go and get some help.
Yeah, it'll give you its own interpretation on what it thinks is the right thing to do in the situation. It's been trained off
Mhm.
of safeguarding data and digital safety data and that we found from the government, police, charities. But yes, it will also recommend things like Childline, all these things. And it's not just narrowed down to say, how do I set up safety settings on TikTok for my daughter? It's all the way to, you know, I think my child's depressed or is self-harming because it's
Mhm.
happening a lot, and you'll ask it, what the hell do I do? And then it'll go, okay, here's the ways you can talk to them about it. Here's who you can reach out to. Here's what you need to do to go, right, reach out to these guys, speak to your child, approach them softly. Do you know what I mean? All these things that
That's
safeguarding
really
children say
empowering,
to
isn't
you,
it? And yeah.
it's there on your phone and you can go, crying your eyes out, what do I do? And it'll be there.
Mm. I've been there and I've tried it, and I've tried Sid recently,
Mm,
but I've been that parent who went online to go and find where I can get help.
yeah.
And I've also been that person that other people come to and say, "How can I help? Where can I go for help?" And
Mm,
this is just, yeah, this is great to be able to provide that as a signpost. And so, yeah, all credit to you, Adam. Thank you is
No,
what I'm going to say.
I mean,
So
sorry to interrupt, but the other added
yeah,
benefit of it is that when you've got tears in your eyes, you can't really see that bloody well. So instead of having to trawl through tens of web pages on Google that Google's referred to you, and you're not
yeah.
finding anything helpful, you can just actually ask the direct question of the thing you're after, and it will tell you what you need to know. And
Wow.
it's just,
I'm
just
hoping after this podcast, just go online, guys, find Digital Woof and ask Sid. Ask Sid the questions that you want. Just test it. I've tested it out because I think one of my kids said to me something about skibbity toilet, right? Yeah. And so I did test it out, and I will say Sid
Mm,
didn't find it at that time,
yeah.
but I'm pretty sure Sid will find it now. So yeah, there's stuff going on with kids online all of the time, and there's new
Mm.
stuff coming out all the time. And for anybody
Oh,
that doesn't know, Skibbity Toilet is like a meme or a character that's on YouTube or TikTok and the shorts, a bit like some generations might remember Annoying Orange. It's
oh,
even
great.
more annoying than Annoying Orange. Let me just say, yeah, yeah.
The other thing with that, what was it again? Skippity doo dah. What was that?
Skibbity Toilet, I think it is.
I'm gonna forget about this in 10 minutes anyway. Skippity toilets. What we're planning to do is, now that we've got the AI piece that's going to be analyzing this content, right? So what we intend to do is scale it very, very quickly, where we'll be scanning, say, thousands to hundred thousands of platforms every single day, and then
Yeah,
classifying them. But the other key thing is that we'll be kind of understanding. Say you've got school A and school B. We'll be understanding that school A, say in Durham, is accessing a lot of racial content, right? Let's say racially
yeah,
uh, linked content that's in some way harmful. And then let's say there's a school B's down in Cornwall and they're accessing a lot of sexually explicit content. We can identify the differences in terms of, okay, site A is receiving a lot of a problem around this, so we can assign safeguarding, we can help with education and stuff and prevention. Same with site B, but it's much more tailored to a different problem. But with that, we'll be feeding a lot of the information like skippity toilet
yeah.
into Sid, so then that way Sid will know what a skippity toilet is, and then he'll be able to help you with it. So yeah, so the idea is to have this, connected system that's operating, very loosely, that anyone can use very quickly.
Amazing. Amazing. Right. I'm going to bring us back to the conference now, Adam. Okay. So
Mm.
you're going to be exhibiting at the Castle Conference, and we are really, really excited to have you there and have you. You're going to be able to talk to so many people about this, about
Mm.
Sid and Incinto and Digital Woof. But why is it important for you to come to the conference?
Yeah, so when I went to the first one back last year, up in Chesterley Street, wasn't it?
Chesterley Street. Yeah.
Chesterley Street. And it was my home as well. It's where I was born. I just never really got to live there much because we moved to Cornwall at a very young age, but it was nice to be around. But the really, really, I'd say, like the amazing thing really was coming into a room with a bunch of people that genuinely care, but they're doing
Mhm.
lots of different bloody things. So, you've got people that are looking after kids because of something happened at home of domestic abuse. You've got people that are, trying to solve a problem with kids because of suicide. You've got, people
Mhm.
trying to solve problems with kids because, and also vulnerable adults where there's something happening online. But there was no one in the room, and it was really refreshing. That was just after money.
No.
Like it was everyone was after the same thing, which was to do the right thing and help people that genuinely need the help, and to stop the bellends from pursuing them and hurting them online and in the real world as well. And that was really refreshing, to be honest, because it felt more human than your average networking event. And they're just always about making sales and finding opportunities, which is great, but it's not one thing I'm really after in this. So yeah, it was good. And I got to meet a lot of different people with a lot of different stories that were
Yeah.
heartbreaking, but also inspiring. And everyone just genuinely gave a crap.
Yeah,
It was
I,
nice.
I thank you. That's really amazing to hear. We're bringing the same speakers, so
Mm,
I'll be speaking. I speak from a personal point of view, but also when I talk about neurodiversity and the additional vulnerabilities of people who are neurodivergent online. I don't know if that's something that you have a thought about or consider.
I'll be neurodivergent online.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go down a rabbit hole on this one, so I'll keep it very brief. So when I was at the last conference, I mentioned when I was sitting there on the panel with some excellent people, by the way, if you're going to the
Mhm.
conference, chat to them. And I was talking about how I kind of in the past of subjecting myself to getting addicted to Instagram or getting addicted to TikTok to understand what happens, and also to understand how the algorithm works on a human level of what it displays to you for what periods of time. And it was fascinating. My new addiction is X. I'm just obsessed with X.
No.
What? Different people. Everyone likes different things. But with being, your brain operates very differently. The chemical balances are different. And if you haven't read the book Live Wired, I'd recommend reading it. It talks about how the brain forms different patterns and how your brain adapts to different habits and circumstances. But when it comes to things like TikTok, which are incredibly easily addictive, short form digestible content, and actually makes you dumber over time, which is frightening, I think people in general that are neurodiverse are more susceptible to those short forms of content that can be much more addictable. Same as, you have someone who's got a pattern of addiction to alcoholism in their family, get them addicted to alcohol and they're going to be much more dependent. Same with gambling. It's the same thing with specific types of platforms and applications that can benefit or hinder you. They should be regulated the same way, in my opinion, because they can do a lot of damage, but we're not there. And I don't think we're going to be there for a while, to be honest with you.
Yeah. There's a lot of traction at the moment of different people talking about this kind of stuff, and we'll see what comes out of it. And at the conference, we'll be talking about it because Professor Kowalek from Loughborough University will be talking about the attention economy, and that's exactly what you're talking about there. That attention economy and the crisis, but not one of young people's making, one that we've just kind of sleepwalked into.
Yeah, and I don't think it's all to blame on the companies either. I mean, they know what they're doing and they're bloody good at it, but I think there's a part to blaming ourselves there for allowing kids to go on those platforms in the first instance. I mean, when I was a kid, I'd be at my old chunky Windows 98 computer, which I adored to bits. It never worked properly. It's part of the package. It's Microsoft, but I was on my computer a lot. Whether I wasn't allowed Facebook until it was a bit later, but when I got it, and I experienced a lot of the dark sides of it, and there's also some positives. But it's easy to let your kids slip into that thing of going on an iPad, going on a phone, especially when you got strollers coming out with iPad slots on them.
You are kidding me.
No, seriously, yeah. No, I can't remember the name of the brand, but if you type in tell you what, you said, type in stroller with an iPad slot on it, and it'll probably find you the name or a link. If it doesn't, don't come after me.
All right, then.
But it'll probably find you it. If not, Google it. Yeah. So it's like if your little 3-year-old's in a stroller, you can be there's the iPad. Crack on. And the amount of damage that will do to a developing brain, especially, things like minor things that we don't think of, like blue light, right? It's really damaging to your iris. If you expose a child to that constantly for hours on end every single day,
what are we doing?
Going to get damaged eyes. So I turned off blue light on my phone, my laptop, my tablet, because my eyes are actually more relaxed. I can feel them strain when the blue light comes on. So I was like, I'm not doing that anymore.
And you are a geek. You're a techie, but you're warning against these things. You are saying, actually, this isn't good for us.
Yeah, and I don't think we should wait for lawmakers to flick a magic switch where things won't change anyway, because they'll just change the way they do things in a way that suits them, that complies with the law, but achieves the same output, which is money at any cost. And I don't think people should wait. I think people should be very pissed off, and people should be putting that anger into something positive, which is helping people, learning and supporting your families and supporting your local area and your friends. Simple. I don't think we should be waiting.
Well, I'm going to say I did ask Sid. You might want to ask Sid and find out what Sid said.
Why would Sid say? Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, tell me afterwards. Tell me if it was really bad.
I'll tell you later what Sid said.
I'm nervous.
Now everybody's listening and watching. They're like, right, I need to go and ask Sid. That's one way of getting them on there.
No, if it works, it works. Kudos.
Okay, right. So, my next question then. I mean, we've probably alluded to some of this, but what are you hearing and seeing? What's happening? Is it really all that bad? When we're talking about digital well-being, we're talking about mental health. Is it really all that bad, or are we, are we making a mountain out of a molehill here?
See, it's interesting because you're going to have an audience watching this that's going to be very novice to this situation and very, very, very bright and understanding of the situation and all the different components to it. I'd say from a novice's point of view, which is the general public, way, way, way fucking worse than you think. And if you're an expert, you know just how bad this is. I was because I've got neurodiversity stuff, and I was up till like 4 a.m. Just got really kind of restless, and I thought, I'll go on TikTok to see what kind of crap's going on. And I was just flicking through, and then I got to this live stream of this. She looked about 12, 13. She was talking about school, so she's definitely
Right.
a school
So
teacher,
she's at
right?
school. Yeah.
I was on there for about a minute and a half watching this live stream, and I thought the entire time, what the bloody hell are you doing? Like, really, what are you doing? But she was having strangers, and they could be anywhere in the world, saying she looked ugly and, calling her a slut. She's a child. She's a kid. And, belittling her, insulting her and stuff. And some of them
Mm,
asking her genuine questions about what's going on at school, which there lies a concern because why are you asking a little girl who's in school what's going on in
mm,
her school online? Go back to the days of MSN, you'd be like, right, block that person. But these days, perfectly natural for a little kid to expose themselves to the world online without any training or understanding of what they're doing. This thing
mm.
has so much power that it puts in your pocket. It's just abused and neglected because people just do not understand. I couldn't stick it after about a minute and a half. But that little girl being exposed and abused like that, and her genuinely getting very upset and angry at 4 in the morning when she should be asleep for school the next day,
Yeah.
is just the tip of the iceberg of the problem. You've got kids that are being targeted through Snapchat for fake concert tickets where they get the information from the kid. Then the gang has another person contact the child another way through a game they're playing because they put down some information. A simple question of, do you play Roblox or do you play Fortnite? And they'll go like, we'll give you five
Okay.
for that. Kid gets a £5 coupon. Great, fantastic. But what they don't know is that they've just opened the door to another predator to find them on one or two platforms. They go on there. There was a Children's Society story from their safeguarding team where there was a little lad and they were talking to him about home and cost of living, and this was just post-pandemic, like we came out the second lockdown. And he said, oh, I can't afford pizza, we're kind of struggling. And
Mm,
another person went, oh, I'll buy you a pizza. What's your address? Come on, man. I mean, the kid obviously doesn't know any better. The kid's gonna go, oh yeah, here's my address, because it takes a human being to be exposed to a lot of crap to realize in their life that not everyone's
yeah.
out there to help them.
Yeah.
And the kids won't understand that, and you can blame the kids all you like, but you're an idiot. So that story, I can't remember the rest of it, but the problem of a kid being able to give away their address so easily to a stranger online that
Yeah.
is identified as a serious problem. That leads to things where children end up getting tracked, they end up getting gifted a phone, where and I the what's the is it the transport police for the trains?
Yeah. British Transport Police.
That's the one, yeah. So what they do is they end up giving the kids iPhones, like expensive phones, and go, right, you owe
Mm.
us for that now. The kid's then hooked, the kid's scared, the kid's threatened, going, right, we're going to talk to your parents and threaten your parents or get your brother or get your sister, whatever. And all they need to do is find the names on Facebook to terrify a child because the child's going to go, how did you get that? And then they end up getting the kids to traffic drugs and sex
So
through the
that's
train.
county lines. So we're talking about county
Yeah.
lines there, aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And it all
and
filters in.
actually, yeah, my thoughts on this, and I don't talk about this very much, actually. I haven't brought this up very much, is that online world is that gateway into things like county lines, which are just incredibly devastating.
Mm.
And yeah, I, no, thank you for bringing that up. So, in summary, from that point, yes, it is all bad out there. It is
I'm not,
pretty bad.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to finish that. Actually, I'm not going to finish that story because, to be honest with you, I don't think the algorithm would allow you to post this on
Yeah,
YouTube
no,
because
no,
it's heartbreaking, and you'll cry your bloody eyes out because it's a little girl
yeah,
out to, and it happens to, you know, it- I think it was a dictator said this one, but he was kind of right. He was like, one death is a tragedy, but a million is a statistic. I mean, you see it on the news and go, oh, a million kids, and it, you don't feel the emotion of there's a kid
yeah,
there and there's a lot of
yeah,
them. You see a number and you'll forget, like I said earlier, and it'll move on pretty quickly.
yeah. Do you think that things like the Online Safety Act will have an impact in this?
No, I think, well, actually, no, I take that one back. I think it'll have impact. I don't think it does enough. I don't think it goes close to what it needs to do. I remember when the online harms white paper came out and they were talking about fining and prosecuting directors personally that were responsible for departments that had, a responsibility and a duty of care for children and vulnerable people. Nope, didn't
Mm,
happen. You can tell that's never going to happen because there's too many interests. But I think I think it's like GDPR, where they can put a tick box, but they can still take your data. You wouldn't be any the wiser.
Yeah. It's
I think
I
that's it.
think
Because
I think
like, sorry, go on.
no, I think it's got time. It needs time to get established for people to even know that the Online Safety Act exists, because
Mm,
surely the story you were telling about the young girl who was on TikTok, that could be reported,
mm.
and those people who are making those comments and driving that to her, that they could be investigated.
Well, I mean, potentially, but if they're a smart, prolific abuser that tends to do this
Mm,
thing quite regularly, which a lot of them are,
mm,
then they'll probably be using something like a VPN and whacking their IP address all over the world through like 8 different routers, and you won't find them. It doesn't solve the problem. It'll just keep going, and whether the company's
oof,
fined or not, because all right, let's say TikTok gets fined for users, insulting other users for serious malicious abuse. That's a detriment to the
yeah,
health.
yeah,
TikTok gets fined. And they'll probably put in some countermeasures. I remember Facebook had some issues around this, and they didn't really do
yeah.
much, but they paid the fine. But the revenues are so exceedingly high, it's
It doesn't touch it, does it?
itch, and you're not going to fix the problem unless you genuinely care. And from what I'm sure, these are lovely people in their own right
Mm,
that work in these boardrooms, and there are teams in these organizations like Meta that are genuinely trying. They are trying,
mm,
but it's not enough. It's not enough. From where I'm sitting, from what I experienced as a kid, from what I'm seeing now at scale, which child abuse and the word scale should never be put in the same sentence, it's not enough. It's just not.
Phew. Thank you.
Sorry.
It's yeah, no, I appreciate your passion. I appreciate what you're saying. So I'm gonna come to my next question is, what can we do? What can we do to support young people? What can we do to make a change around this?
Oh, so many things. All right. A, we need to educate people.
Okay.
And we need to actually start caring about each other. There's a problem in this country where, since COVID especially, but over the last 10 years, our community, like communal areas and towns have died. Pubs have died,
Mhm,
community centres are shut down because there's no public funding, because they've been cut. Your police force has been stripped, your hospital services don't work, everything's the communal stuff's gone.
mm.
So, that's been replaced by kind of an internet version of a community where, people chat online on Zoom calls, kind of like we are now, which is great
Yeah,
because I'm, incredibly broke and this saves me traveling to see you.
yeah.
But when people aren't meeting in town and sharing their very different experiences in their own lives with each other and having those conversations and emotively connecting with each other, as humans all over the world do, and humans historically have done, you have a serious problem where people can't learn from each other, people can't trust each other, people feel anxious and scared of each other, because it's like, an example would be, you know, when you say you have a dog in your house and you get a puppy or a cat, if you're a
Mhm,
cat, when you bring it in, the best thing to do is to have that pup generally in another room, and then the dogs get to sniff out each other's scent. And when they get used to each other, you release them together and they start playing and stuff like that. If you release them straight away to each other, they'll be vicious, they'll be anxious, they'll be scared, and there'll maybe a little bit of biting going on. Right now, we're kind of doing it societally with kids and young people and adults as well, because when you take them out of the equation, they lose that practice where there's no understanding. There's no, I've met you long enough to trust you. It's all online. I can't trust you. I don't know who you are,
mhm.
which stops people from, and it's generally people who care a lot that are scared to say something online because they'll get abuse. So when I put a post out from the podcast I did with Alice Violet Creative, oh, she's going to hate me for forgetting the name. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Alice.
Cyber made human.
That's the one. Thank you. Saved by you. When I put a video out on TikTok from that podcast, I don't know who it was. Some guy said something really rude and inappropriate and quite nasty. And I just thought, well, you're a bit of a dick. Deleted his comment and went on my life. I can
Yeah,
brush off fine because you can call me whatever you like under the sun, but a lot of people can't because it's not human.
yeah.
We're not designed for that, and I think that's a serious problem with technology. Where, and I think now we've kind of took the genie out of the bottle with AI, where tech's going to evolve so fast, it ain't going to be human anymore. Like you won't be having those community environments where people can be human. I think we're getting so attached and obsessed with it that we're losing our humanity, which is genuinely giving a crap about each other.
I hope not. I hope we can bring that back, and I hope that is something that we can work on, and that, that element of community, that is something that's coming through as a theme from everybody I've spoken to, is that this is a community challenge,
Mm.
a community problem, and it can be solved by communities, but we have to work hard at it. It
Yeah,
isn't.
and like I think we will kind of we'll either adapt to this, kind of like, after COVID, we adapted by
Mm,
putting on a face mask and, distancing a little bit. But pendulums tend to swing, and when it swings like too far one way, it comes back. And I think this event, in the castle at the end of the month and other events that are popping up is perfect examples of how pendulum is starting to swing back, and people are
yeah.
starting to get really, really annoyed, which they should be.
Yeah,
So,
and I think that what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is there are good people out there
mm,
who don't want the bad things to happen, and as a result, them coming together actually can create that, that critical mass. We can engage more people, and hopefully come up with some strategies and come up with some things that will make a difference at policy, at higher level, and at grassroots as well.
yep,
It's yeah. I find it really fascinating that your company is an AI company, but your vision and your thoughts about artificial intelligence is actually, it's making us less human, and I get a sense that you don't really like that, but you want to use AI for good rather than AI for money making or efficiencies, that kind of thing.
yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, my company wouldn't exist, right? Because the whole
Yeah,
point is to prevent harm and help
yeah,
people from being susceptible to harm. So, in a perfect world, my work shouldn't happen. And that would be great, to be honest. I'd love to be fishing on a boat and not have to deal with any of this, but here we are. So, with that, yes, you're right. I don't like it. The thing about AI in particular, I think we're in a very dangerous place socially in how we're perceiving it at this moment in time.
mm,
Not just
mm,
because of its technological leaps and advances, which are amazing, and the people that are working on it generally very conscientious of what they're building,
mm,
and they're also doing it for the right reasons. That's why they're there. They want to help the world, which is amazing. But these biases that humans tend to have, whether you're far or slight right, far and slight left, or whichever way you go, I think those biases that we're not recognizing in ourselves, but others can, kind of like an echo chamber, is
mm,
incredibly dangerous when it comes to teaching an entity that by itself has its own intelligence and can make decisions to an extent. Depends on what version and what product you're looking at, because there's loads of different
yeah,
AIs, thousands of them, and there's ones in
yeah.
labs that we're not going to see for 10 years that can do extraordinary things that you'd be terrified about if you saw them. But I
Let's not
think
go there, Adam. Let's not go there.
I think the biases in technology like AI, where it steers, say, a child towards a decision about their digital safety, which comes back to Sid, a bias
Mm,
in that can be incredibly dangerous. Because
yeah.
let's say I built a very far right version of Sid and I called it
Mm,
Did. And someone went on to Did and went, oh, this person at school said I was a racist because of XYZ. It could then come out with something really bloody bad. Or let's say I've created mid for far left people and it was a similar question. Come out with something incredibly bad that can hurt someone in real life. And when you
mm,
give an AI the tools to go do things for you, let's say the humanoid robots that Jeff Bezos has been investing in and China's doing really amazing work in, they start walking around your house and they have inherent biases and they're doing things for you. It just makes me think of Will Smith and iRobot. But that's down the
oh,
future. It's a
yeah,
problem to address now and take note of, because if we don't, it will
yeah,
just come back
we'll
and
get
bite
there.
us later.
Don't even
Yeah.
get me started about the films, all right? Minority Report, Terminator, iRobot. I'm there, right? I'm
I've
there
never
with you.
seen Minority Report ever. Never seen it.
Oh, go and watch it, all right?
I mean,
Find it
Tom
on
Cruise is
streaming
alright,
somewhere.
but he's just overrated in my opinion.
Just watch it. Watch it now, yeah, and just when you consider that it was made decades
Oh
ago.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
and
like 1984, the book, isn't it?
yeah,
That's all kind of ringing true, which is interesting.
yeah, and I will say Samantha Morton, I think she's the actress in Minority Report. She is phenomenal, okay? So, yeah, just watch it for her.
I will watch it. I will watch it.
Yeah.
I'll speak to the conference about, oh, guess what I watched?
Yes, please. Right
Yeah.
then. Okay, we're going to wrap up. All right. I
Yes.
want to thank you. I want to thank you for being open and honest and passionate. and talking about some of those really difficult things, because actually they can make us feel really uncomfortable, and it can make us think about what we're doing and how we're
Mm.
doing things. And thank you is what I will say there. So to wrap up, how can people find Sid or Incinto? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so if you want to learn about the prevention tech that we're building, head to Incinto.ai, which you'll see down the bottom
Mhm.
here. Yeah, and if you want to find Sid, you can go to Digital Woof, spelled WOOF.com,
Yeah.
and you'll find Sid on the homepage. No sign up. Don't give us your email. You can if you want
No,
to. It's weekly, but you can just go ahead and use it.
Sid is
Simple.
brilliant, actually. You can ask it about privacy. You can ask it about data. There's a
Teach you
whole
how to
load
make
of
pancakes
questions
as
you can
well.
ask. You can
Yeah,
what?
it can teach you how to make pancakes as well.
Oh, well, what more can we
Brilliant.
ask for? Yes. Right. Brilliant. I'm going to wrap up. Thank you, Adam. We've been talking about the Castle Conference and digital wellbeing for young people. We will be at Lee Court in Bristol on the 25th of April 2024. If you're listening to us after that, we're not there. So you'll have to find us at another space. If you'd like tickets, if you'd like to find out more, then visit our website, which is icaw-cic.com. I'm going to say that again, icaw-cic.com. I have found that sometimes the spell checker will change that to different words. So if you need to, just look up inclusive change and you will find us somewhere. Alternatively, look for Digital Safety. Digital Safety are our partners. So look for ds-cic.com and you will find us somewhere on the internet. We would love to see you at the conference. Adam, I can't wait to see you at the end of April. Really looking forward to seeing you at the conference.
No, I was just going to say on the spell checking point, Google does sometimes correct Digital Woof to Digital Wood, and I don't think anyone wants to see that. So just type in the
We don't
domain.
want that either. Yeah,
A lot
don't
easier
go
to
in that
get.
room.
Yeah, that was good. Cool. Sorry, I just got
Right.
my headphones. Oh.
We're going to say goodbye for now. Thank you for listening, and check out our other podcasts. We're on Spotify now. We're on YouTube. We're on our website. We're all over the place. Thanks very much.